director of the Greater Detroit Community Outreach Center here in Detroit, Michigan. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our charitable foundations. These are foundations that give money to various organizations that services the poor. Now, if you can recall from our last or our previous lecture, that we talked about corporations and their givings to the poor. Well, there's one distinct difference between the givings that are given by the corporations and those that are given by the foundations. And the biggest difference here is that the foundations have research capacity. That means that the larger foundations have a year-round staff that researches the areas of which they're going to give monies to. For example, if they're going to give to the poor, they research which programs are best suitable and able to give to the poor in any given situation. If they're giving to the poor with regards to feeding the hungry or housing the poor or any area, there's a research capacity set up to make sure that they're doing the best uses of those funds. Now here's the problem. And we might say that we're not talking about a little bit of money. In 2018, there was over $4 billion spent to provide to the poor and the underprivileged. Over 100 million of that, billions, excuse me, I said millions, but it's actually billions, was given by our foundations. Again, so we're not talking about a little bit of money. Here's what, as I said, here's the biggest problem between the foundations and their giving, and that as opposed to the corporations and their giving, and that being that the foundations have research capacity. Now, we don't want to get too technical with this, but in the research capacity, they have set up focus groups. That means people in the areas, and they want to come and ask questions. They want to get involved in the community in terms of who they're giving their monies to and what should be given. There's strategies, there are pilot programs that are assessed. Now, here's the problem again. The problem is in having that research capacity, which is not done by the corporations, but done by the foundations. You omit a very important element in your research. Now, and that is understanding that for every service program that is servicing the poor, that you're getting ready to give millions of dollars to, there are programs out there working on the very same problem. But they're not allowed to come to the tables. Why? Who makes that decision? This is something that will expose itself as we begin to get into understanding the giving process. But let's just deal with the face value of what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're spending millions, you're researching the problem, and yet you're purposely, or I just say deliberately, omitting the prevention element. So yes, we can get out and say to the public, XYZ Foundation provided 2, 3, 4, 5 millions of dollars to this company or to this program to help the poor. All the while knowing that this company that is servicing the poor, or these programs that are servicing the poor, there's also programs out there dealing with the same problem, saying we don't want to serve the poor. We don't want to feed the hungry. We don't want to help with regards to the homeless. What we want to do is prevent the problem. We want to submit to your foundation to serve the problem, to prevent the problems of the poor, to prevent the problems of hunger, to prevent the problems of homelessness. And we look at this thing from a different perspective, but we're just as dedicated to the problem that you're spending or providing millions of dollars to. And that's wrong. It's wrong for you to turn these organizations away and say that we're going to service the problem. You see, the public isn't aware of this. But we get the news, we get the news lights, we get the media notifications that your agency, your foundation provided X amount of dollars to service the poor. Oh, great. But I'm telling you, and I'm showing the public, and the foundations in Michigan, Kellogg Foundation, Stillman Foundation, United Foundation, they know what I'm saying. You have proven prevention programs out here working on the very same problem you are servicing. You're providing money for service. And in that sense, when the media picks it up, when individuals hear about it, you provide an incorrect leadership in terms of dealing with that particular problem. Because your leadership is skewed to the extent that we're not providing a holistic approach to the problem. And we know that there are prevention programs out there. So, as we get into this and as we explore this, you must begin to understand. We use words, or you use words, the foundation use words like integrity in giving, legacies to uphold. But if you are purposely omitting certain programs or not allowing them to come to the table to work with that same problem that you're putting out millions of dollars to, then you compromise your integrity. You compromise the legacy of which we try to give those people who leave monies for the poor. So, it is important for the public to understand this. And as we get, you'll see that there's a lot more involved, but the most important thing is that these foundations, if you know about the prevention programs, and deliberately and purposely and selectively decide that they cannot come to the table to be considered along with the service programs, I'm saying that you are doing a disservice to the community. And then more importantly, that you don't understand is that what you're doing, instead of helping the poor, you're keeping the poor poor. You're not allowing for self-sufficiency, giving them the opportunity to stand up. Because what happens? All the leadership money is being put to service. And in order to get that money, now let's clear this up. In order to get that money, you're forcing agencies to come and direct their efforts in one particular area. Service. 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 Fine. We can say to the media, we can say to the public how we're giving to serve the poor. But you know, and as we get into, we'll be able to explain the more technical aspects of this. As long as we're servicing, we're not providing leadership on how to prevent the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who are with Charitable Foundations, I'm available for speaking engagements. I'd like to speak with you. It can stop now. It doesn't have to stop once the public understands this thing. It can stop now. You can start that right now and say, next year from now on, henceforth, we will never give out millions of dollars to a program to serve the problems of the poor when we know that there are prevention programs working on the same problem. And if we allow these programs to work together, then we can use words like integrity and legacy of service and traditions of giving. Because we've done what we were supposed to do with regards to prudent use of funds.